It seems like the relationship has really been fractured, right? And I just think like at this point, someone was saying earlier that once Newcastle plays Liverpool, you just watch they resell him off and all. But I just think like at this point that they should actually just let the player go, because there is a danger of, okay, the player doesn't go, the player reintegrates into the team, and then he's actually a shell of himself.
This is the Sports Lounge. Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Don't forget to like, leave a comment and subscribe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sport. Welcome again, it's the Sports Lounge, and on today's segment I have a father figure, a daddy figure, right? And that's where this conversation is going to head out, because in the Premier League or generally in football, there's something we see where players tend to act out despite being in a contract situation. And I think the biggest one so far is Alexander Isak of Newcastle. We saw after the PFA Awards, he came out to release a long contract saying that Newcastle were not keeping to their promise or their word. But for me, I was thinking the promise is on the contract. Everything that you need or you see should be on the contract. But let's go to someone who, in the sense of family or community, recently became a dad. So I'm sure you would. Let's hear what you have to say or think in terms of that regard when you see someone, someone contracted to you, not necessarily your child, but someone contracted to you acting out in this kind of scenario. We don't have all the details, right? Because Newcastle has also come out to say this and say that. But to you, what do you think is wrong in this situation? What do you think can be done better to avoid things like this?
So I was kind of glad that Isak actually came out and actually spoke about, gave his own version of events, because there's always a danger of a one-sided story.
True.
And we had actually not heard anything from Isak, anything from, all we were hearing was, sound bites, reporters, that he's not coming to train again, all those kind of stuff. And from a fatherly perspective, sometimes if you're, don't mind me, let me digress too much. But then again, I do think, for me, I would side on this particular occasion, I would side a bit more with the player. I've seen people come out to insult Isak, that he's being very silly, that this is on his contract, he should, adhere to the contract. For someone who has been a victim of having a gentleman's agreement with someone else, and then the person doesn't live up to that gentleman's agreement, it can be a big, for me, it's a big deal. If at the end of last season, and Eddie Howe even said it recently that they actually had a conversation around this at the end of last season. If at the end of last season there was a conversation to be held around, okay, I want to go. First off, maybe the agent didn't try in the fact that they didn't put a release clause on the contract, something that could have been triggered for him to make this whole process a lot easier for him, and also to protect Newcastle's end, because if there was a release clause, maybe 102 or something, Newcastle knows what they are getting back in return and stuff like that. But if there wasn't that, and then we actually had a conversation on an agreement, and I get the points where people tell me okay, a gentleman's agreement technically is not legally binding, because even in court, sometimes to prove a gentleman's agreement, certain kind of things need to be provided for you to be able to prove okay, this has to actually stand, right? But in a case whereby that is not done and all that, I just honestly think if they had told the player, and from all we are hearing now, it seems like there was a conversation that was held around this. It seems like there was some form of agreement that, okay, you know what, we are going to actually allow you go at this particular point in time. If that was the case, then I honestly just think that they should let him go, especially now, because it feels like, once again, I still kind of blame the agent, just by the way. But once again, it seems like the relationship has really been fractured, right? And I just think at this point, someone was saying earlier that once Newcastle plays Liverpool, you just watch they resell him off and all. But I just think at this point that they should actually just let the player go, because there is a danger of, okay, the player doesn't go, the player reintegrates into the team, and then he's actually a shell of himself. So yeah.
Brilliantly said. Thank you so much, Treasure, for giving us your 2 cents on that. Before we let you go, I'm going to ask you, what's one thing EPL fans should look out for, not necessarily EPL fans, football fans generally should look out for in the coming week of football?
there are actually a lot of very, very interesting games. The one thing that I want to look out for is Ekitike banging in another goal. Because there's a guy. The guy was actually in the previous panel, sir.
Okay.
And then the guy has been making noise about Ekitike. For me, please, Liverpool fans, watch out for that boy. I took my time. I watched him sometime when he was in Frankfurt. There were specific players in the Bundesliga that I really like. He was one of them. Xavi Simons was one of them. Sesko in and out and all that. But for the amount of slack this my good friend has been giving this boy, I'm so happy. Community Shield, he proved him wrong. First game of the season, 1 goal, 1 assist. We're getting there. Don't worry.
All right.
When my guy bangs again,
all right,
I will drag him. But I think Ekitike is one thing that Liverpool fans can actually look out for, because I think that boy is actually good and it's something that he would develop into something
bigger,
like world class beating and all that. I think the new signings in the different teams as well. Eze is in Arsenal now. A friend of mine will be saying Eze and his chaos that he brings opens up a lot of things for them. I think I'd love to see a bit more of what Man U is now as a team, also because I'm a Man U fan. I strongly want to think that performance was not just a fluke. You said you were a neutral. I'm sorry, he's not a neutral. He's a Manchester United fan. So
why they cast me
I want to see how that works. And I'm also just looking at teams like Chelsea, because Chelsea has actually looked a bit electric, right, to see how the whole system works. So if there was one other thing I would mention is the team dynamics for the varying teams, to see what they are doing now, how they are going to be playing this season and all that. So yes.
Thank you so much, Treasure. And yeah, that'll bring the end to this part of the conversation. For if you enjoy these sessions, don't worry, we'll be having it's Daddy sessions with Treasure. Thank you very much.